And I'm Kerry Weldy. Welcome to session number 2 in The Power of Tattoos, How Images Transform Your Life. This is the second session in 13 weeks I'm going to be doing. I just want to make sure that I'm broadcasting. And someday I'll get a producer that does all this for me, but right now it's me. You get the Care Bear. And I'm really excited by you joining us. The whole group, and it just keeps building and getting bigger and bigger. So let's get started with these slides. And this is interactive, so please feel free to ask questions and post them here. I'm Kerry Weldy. I've got my Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. I was featured on HGTV and a number of other shows. I do public speaking. I'm an author, writer, TV producer, and my website is My Harmonized Home, and I'm getting ready to launch thepoweroftattoos.com. I love this quote by Henry Ward Beecher. Every artist dips his brush in his soul and paints his own nature into his pictures. And what I want you to do is I want you to think about you are the artist. You're the artist of your life. You're the one that's bringing art into your home and bringing art into your clothing and bringing art into your body, your office, your walls. You are the artist, even though you're grabbing other art. It is up to you to create what you want in your life. My first book I wrote a number of moons ago, Spiritual Values in the Workplace. You can buy it on Amazon. I love talking about energy. And I'm going to be releasing a book later this year. I want to give this tattoo book a big push before I launch 21 Gifts, which is finished. It's ready to rock and roll. And any day now, I'm going to be launching my next book, which is The Power of Tattoos. It's my coaching book, Tattoo Coaching. I'm your tattoo coach. It talks about how we become our art, the principles of the law of resonance, color, shapes, quantity, and placement, the energy markers that permanently connect us to others. Because when we are in the presence of an art piece 3 hours, we resonate with for 3 hours. If we're in it for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we have a much stronger possibility of becoming that art. Then I talk about in the book the butterfly and 10 other tattoos that are popular to avoid, the 12 tattoos of limitation and death, and then how to turn your tattoos in home into a Da Vinci painting. Just love this stuff. So for those who are interested in how tattoos and art affect you, go ahead and visit my Instagram page. I'm building a following now, and I'm starting to post more. I'm going to be posting a lot on here because this is a great way to see everything that I'm doing with tattoos, including coming out with a series of tattoos that you can purchase for your wall or for your body. And this will be a lot of fun. Your home is not just an expression of you. Your home is creating your future. And your art is creating your future too, because your art reflects not only who you are, art psychologists will tell you this, but it's also creating your future because it's radiating energy. And you absorb the energy of every art piece. When you change one piece of art, you start going into resonance with that, just like you do going into resonance with a friend. So look at art as your friend, a powerful centerpiece that is got all kinds of stories for you, and that's what your art's about. I love this quote by Oscar Wilde. Paradoxically, though it may seem, it is nonetheless true that life imitates art far more than art imitates life. And doesn't he look like that he knows something? You know, he's got this cigarette here. He said this in 1889, I believe. You know, I've got something, and I really love this because this is the basis for the book. Our art creates our future. And that's what he was trying to say, both words and other things. How many of you have worked with a vision board? You know, they talk about this is how to engage the law of attraction through art, through words. Put up the images that you want to achieve. And it's amazing how that works. However, vision boards really work if your artwork is in resonance. So You might create a vision board that's this big, but your whole life experience is your vision board. So there's a lot more going on with your vision board. In fact, your vision board includes a lot more things, such as, you know, any tattoos that you may have, your art on your walls, clothing, words that you're around, colors, patterns, logos, symbols, the shapes of things around you dramatically affect. If you put a square table next to you, it's going to affect your mental body versus because it's a masculine shape. And we're going to talk more about that in one session about shapes. If I put somebody that's got ADD or autism or nervousness or anxiety next to a square table, it'll exacerbate those conditions because that's movement. And that's what masculine shapes do, is they move us. Needed, but in excess, it can be a problem. The literature you read around you, media, TV, radio, movies, video games, the words that we are around, if we imprint them on our bodies. So this is a secret to creative positive changes more easily. When you change the art in your home, you will change your life. So this is how to engage the law of resonance to work for you, rather than choosing art that doesn't work for us. Very important. Everything radiates energy and information. So if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. This is what Nikola Tesla said. My corollary to that is, and it's a new way of looking at art, as I like to say, is that if you want to know the secrets of your tattoos and all your art and how they affect you, think in terms of energy and frequency and vibration. This is a quote from my upcoming book, The Power of Tattoos. So the question is, how quickly does an image impact you? A number of studies that I cite in the book, faster than a blink of an eye. In fact, it's 10 times faster than the blink of an eye. And hi, Gemma. And by the way, for anybody that's joining and you want to watch the whole thing again, you always can come to the Power of Tattoos Facebook page and watch it. And I'll probably be posting links to these on Instagram so that you'll get to know them as well. So within the faster than a blink of an eye, your brain is already processing the images that impact you. So tattoos, like everything in this world, every object is radiating energy continuously. And the law of resonance says it's a tendency for like to attract like. When you have an energy field of happiness, you'll start creating and attracting more happiness around you. You'll start creating a happy people. This is proven. Many studies in my book. This is the chemical engineering scientist in me that likes to look at science and says, okay, where are the facts? Because I just don't want to give my opinion in my book. I want to make sure that it's fact-based. So tattoos are like all images, they're energy emitters. Everything is emitting energy and different kinds of energies. You know, we could be happy and then we can also be industrious. We can also be happy and then be totally relaxed. So when we're around energy, we absorb the energy and then we become it. And this is what the masters did of art and architecture: Leonardo da Vinci, Plato, Vitruvius, the ancient Egyptians, who were the first to use vibrational energy that we know of. They were the first to incorporate sacred geometry and other vibrational ways into methods, into their buildings, and the Great Pyramid, for example. The power of resonance. The law of resonance really dictates much of our behavior. I know we like to think we're in control, but you'll be shocked at the studies that I reveal in these sessions, as well as in my book. There's a lot more in my book. I cite probably 200 or 300 studies in here to make sure that it's grounded. But dolphins and birds, you know, they fly in unison. Have you ever looked at birds sitting on a wire and they're in a row? It's just like that. So things go into resonance. Now the question is, do non-living things resonate with each other? Like what's going on? Do non-living things like a computer or a rock or a pencil or a line or your lamp or your bed, do you go into resonance with them? Absolutely, because the colors from them affect you. They affect your mood. But the question is, are they conscious, and are they receiving energy from you? And are they reacting to the energy that you are giving and you're communicating, both on the conscious and the unconscious level? So things like the stock market go into resonance with energy. I'm going to show you a really stunning study of another one. It's this called the Global Consciousness Project. It's been going on for many years. It's led by Princeton, and this is fascinating. They actually took 65 electromagnetically shielded computers. I think that's supposed to be shielded there. Computers in 60 plus countries, and they measured 185 total events of global interest. And so during this, the computers all around the world were individually coming up with random numbers. They were generating 100 numbers per second, either a 1 or a 0. So every second, 100 numbers randomly in a row. And then they recorded this and timed it, and everything was tight and stamped. And then they compared the data. And what they found is when they looked at major events, like this is the funeral, the picture of the funeral from Pope John Paul II, major event, millions of people were watching it all over the world. Dignitaries from all over the world were there. So everybody's energetically, or a lot of people were tuned in. What was shocking is that during an event of this international interest, the computers would go into synchronicity. I got to change these and correct it. Would go synchronize. They would synchronize with the probability of 1 in 100 million. That's amazing. So things that aren't supposed to be conscious, like computers, along electric lines and the crystals that are in them and all that kind of thing, the circuitry, they are conscious, and they're aware of our emotional energy. What was even staggering with this is they started going into synchronicity up to 3 hours before the event even happened. Isn't that amazing? Like an earthquake or a hurricane. We already know that we're in a time warp. And this has also been proven with the HeartMath Institute, where they put yogurt out, and they also they did another experiment where they correlated what the heart was saying versus the brain. So they correlated, the EEGs and EKGs of the heart and the brain, and saw that when you had an emotion, and they were flashing random pictures up, like of a snake, and then a laughing baby, and then 5 seconds later it was something else. They would register what the emotions were with the person that had these electrodes hooked up to the monitor. And what they found was that the heart would lead the brain. That first the heart was responding to the emotion. So it would have, nervous energy if it saw, or fright or fear if it saw a snake, a cobra that was snatching, coming out and biting. And then the brain would register very quickly, but the heart was before. In fact, the heart registered the event and the emotion to random events several seconds even before the image was shown. How does that work? I don't know. Except I do know that we live in this time continuum, that somehow parts of us are reaching through and connecting to what already happened before we consciously are aware of what happened, and we're experiencing it in real time. I know that it's a little funky, crazy. How y'all doing? This is a new way of looking at art. So this is not about judging if tattoos or art is good, bad, right, or wrong. And I make this very clear in my tattoo book, which is, I think it's going to launch this week on Amazon. This is about cause and effect, that if you do this, then you're going to attract these energy to you. And here's the science behind that. So the question is, what energy and information are you connecting with? With even a pencil, or a pencil that's pointing towards you versus a pencil that's in front of you. I like this thought about judgment. Now that we're talking about judgment, and I'm going to judge that siren. I don't know if you hear it, but judgment is the wise sage within us. Judgment gets a bad rap. I think it's one of our friends. I think it's actually one of the most important things that we use. Now, we hear in scripture and a lot of philosophers, they say, don't judge. I was raised in a fundamental, Pentecostal church. I know that scripture really well. Judge not, and so you won't be judged. I think that's a lie. I think that judge is the wise sage within us. The adult part that can help guide us away from what is toxic for us and toward what will help us heal, grow, and succeed. This is a quote in my book. And we all judge. I mean, if you were going on a date with someone and immediately you're judging that person, unconsciously and consciously. You look at the shoes. I have a female friend, and every time she goes on a date with a guy, she first looks at his shoes. She goes, if he's wearing bad shoes, I'm not going to date him. So she judges the shoes. But we judge too. Is this person angry? Is this person happy? Do I like this person? Do I not like this person? Is this person critical? Do they nurture me? Are they listening? Am I listening? We judge ourselves too. So when we're caught in negative judgment as a cycle pattern because of pain, that's when judgment becomes the problem. So judgment, however, is very important to our success. My research in tattoos and art, I've been studying this stuff for 5 years intently, doing tons of research on this. I'm probably going to write a celebrity book on tattoos because I've got more written. I wrote a whole piece on Lady Gaga. There's a number of celebrities that I talk about and what happened to them after they got their tattoos and describe their tattoos. So I'm really excited about this. I've been interviewing for 5, maybe even 6 years. I've been doing dozens of tattoo interviews extensively, talking about what happened financially, what happened relationship-wise, what happened to our health after we got XYZ tattoo. And I catalog all the tattoos and the dates that the person received them. Most tattoos and art reflect our past stories. And what I'm going to encourage you to think about is, therefore, most images and art radiate both positive and negative energies. You want to avoid these in art, things that are both positive and negative. You want to try to put up art that has as much positivity as possible. Rather than reflect your past and your story, I don't think that's useful. I think art is a powerful medium to create your future. And so the key is to select art that creates a positive future. I want the best for you. Don't put your past story up. What's the point in that? Nobody cares. You ever sit with someone, they're like telling you about what happened at work and what, they got a hangnail and all this kind of thing. And you're thinking, I really don't care. I mean, you feel sorry for the person. You want to help them and lift them up, especially if they're your friend. But is your past really important? There's a lot of evidence, and the experience that we've done is that when you move into the past, you start losing your memory. It's a portal. I've talked about that when I did my harmonized home, and I showed that research. And that's by the University of Notre Dame, that when I tell you a story and move you through time and space, you will lose part of your memory. There's a reason for that. Energetically, there's a reason for it. So I called the professor up. I said, you really want to know why this is the case? How powerful is resonance? It's very powerful. One of my clients went to the Holocaust Museum. I was doing a workshop down in Quincy, Illinois. And Sean, the story is in my tattoo book because it's really powerful and it really drives the point home. And he, one of the Holocaust survivors was selling to raise money and awareness, these black bands. First of all, it's the worst color to wear ever. We're going to be talking about color in the next session. The worst color for success, it's a defeating color. It is the color of death. So that was already toxic. But it says erase the hate. And on the other side was the survivor's prisoner number. So what Sean was doing is he was energetically connecting with the Holocaust survivor. And I asked him, I said, well, what's going on with you? Before I even noticed the band. And he goes, well, I have this pain and numbness in the right arm and hand, which, he said he got immediately after putting this Holocaust wristband with the survivor's number on it. And he had this pain for 5 months. I said, when did you go to the Holocaust Museum? He said, 5 months ago. I said, you've had this pain ever since you started wearing this band? He goes, yeah, I haven't taken it off because I really want to raise awareness for racism and to promote equality. You don't put anything on your body that says hate, first of all, even if it says erase the hate, because you're going to draw more hatred. In another book I wrote, I give example after example, all the wars that we have, the war against crime, the war against poverty, every one of them gets worse. You can't have a war against something that you don't want and put it in there. Even Alcoholics Anonymous. I know. I've been to the meetings in support of friends, and I think they do some good. But that's another subject for another day, about alcohol in the name and anonymous, and I quote the numbers of success, and they have a low success rate. And there's a reason for that. So I said, Jason, or Sean, I think I put Jason in the book, take off your band and go put it way over there on the table, because I didn't want him near the energy field. I knew that it was radiating this pain connected to the survivor. He did, and came back, and instantly his pain and numbness was gone. I called him up a few months ago. I said, I'm putting your story in this book, which he had given me permission to do. And is that pain and numbness after 2 years? I think it's 2 or 3 years now. Is it gone? 3 years, maybe 4. He said it's never come back. He's an electrician too. He uses that hand a lot. It disappeared, never came back. This is the power of art, my friends. I've seen this time and time again, even with pain, and I give a number of examples. Now, this is how to reverse your aging process. How many want to be younger? How many want to raise and boost your immune system? This is something we're always concerned about right now. You can do it through art. I'm going to show you. This is research by Dr. Ellen Langer from Harvard University. She did this experiment with 8 men in their 70s in 1981. And after she published the results, she became very famous. And so several were stooped over and arthritis, 2 had canes, and they were shuffling around. But she put them in a monastery for 5 days, turning back the hands of time, and changed all the furniture, put all furniture back 20 years earlier, when they were in their early 50s. And they didn't have any mirrors in there either. She didn't want people to see themselves. So they had pictures, though, of their younger selves from 20 years prior pinned on them. And they were going into resonance with that. And they were going into resonance with that time period. So they were watching, the black and white shows, and Mickey Rooney and, Wilt Chamberlain and all that. And they were talking about that. They watched a Jimmy Stewart movie, and they analyzed that. So all this furniture and art, which all of it is art and shapes, were from 20 years prior. And as I said, the men all wore pictures of their younger selves. What were the results? They were stunning. They sat taller at the end of 5 days. They were suppler. They actually measured all these things. They measured blood pressure. They had greater manual dexterity. Their eyesight got better. And independent judges that looked at their pictures said they looked younger. The results of the study were so shocking with 5 days that she repeated the study a few years later and filmed it with BBC. And she won an award there that's similar to the Emmys here in Britain. She won that award. And she did this with 6 or 8 aging celebrities, females this time. And same results, shocking. How to reverse your age. I'm going to show you how to reverse your age some more. How many want to reverse your age and look younger? Raise your hand. Well, this is a study. It shows that happiness boosts the immune system. There's a number of studies that actually show this. So you want to be around happy images. Put happy babies. Happy images of you are proven to boost your immune system and to lengthen your life and to live a happier, healthier life. Stop frowning and doing goofy faces and capturing that. You don't want to do that. I mean, it's okay. It just doesn't yield the results you want. And in fact, one study I'm going to show you, I think it's in here, but it's definitely in the book. It's very shocking. There's 1 or 2 that show that when you have neutral faces, it's not that good for you. So this study shows that women who had bigger smiles in their yearbook photos had happier marriages and better health, better mood. many years later. Your early photos that you take and the snapshots you do and the images you are around, like Dr. Langer's study, are going to change your life. And I'm going to share some stuff with you that's even more fascinating. How to live a happier, healthier life using art. In this other study, lower intensity smiles led to higher divorce rates later in life. Smile, babies. Especially when it's distributed. Really smile. This is at Wayne State University in 2010. They looked at photos of baseball cards of 230 Major League Baseball players and found out when they categorized them, actually, they categorized them 3 different ways. No smile. The people with no smile, that percentage of people lived an average of 72.9 years, almost 73 years old. A partial smile, 75 years old. Big grins that were authentic, 80 years old. So imagine baseball cards, right? The images get distributed because they're copied, and that feeds into the collective unconscious, and it freezes things. So you actually can reduce your age by putting pictures of your younger self smiling. They live 10% longer than the no smile people. Amazing. Now let's talk about resonance and social media. And we're almost done here. The energy secret about distribution, because what happens with social media and distribution, I spent a good chunk of the book talking about distributed power, like the internet. What the internet done is lightning fast with distribution, and Amazon has done amazing things with this. But here's a secret about energy that goes through the wires, just like the computer study that we just talked about. It replicates energy very quickly and powerfully. So you want to make sure that you are careful with what you post, especially when it's of yourself. I have another Facebook study. They change their algorithms and do tests on you without you knowing. They minimize how many negative feeds they did for one. I cite the study. They're testing on you. For me, they test a lot because they're changing colors all the time on my background colors. I'm one of the most read people in a lot of face group pages because they tell me, the group pages do. So I'm careful about what I say and how I present myself because that affects my future. Fascinating, huh? They found, by the way, that when you have negative posts on there, you get depressed right away. In fact, it's really fast. I have more in the 21 Gifts that talks about that. I had to cut my book short because it was getting long, but this is a comfortable book, The Power of Tattoos, and it's fun to read. I had a client, John. He said, he called me up. Things seem to move slowly in my life, and they never work out, and problems always seem to surface and interfere with my projects. I listen to their words really carefully because words are really important, and how people describe them. And then I look at their art. It's crystal clear what's going on. I went on his Facebook page, and his Facebook photo was a storm cloud. I think this is Seattle, but it was Chicago. Like this, the worst storm. His cover photo was there. And what he was doing is he was distributing his pain unconsciously. Because again, he was choosing something from his past that represented his pain rather than what he wanted to create in the future. So he changed it and put a sunny scene in there. Very important. Then the slowing part, I said, what kind of art do you have? Can you take pictures of it? He goes, I have a turtle collection. He's been collecting. He's so proud of it. Like I was proud of my art. I talk about my art, my tattoos, which is the art of my home, and how I was having trouble landing a relationship. I'm going on dates and stuff, but it's fun. It's a fun story. You're going to enjoy that. So as I'm talking to him, I'm telling him about turtle energy and how they're one of the slowest things in the world. And they're not aggressive. And when they get attacked, what do? They tuck their head and they hide. You don't want to do that in life. You have to take action. They slow down and they stop. They freeze. So that, flight or fight, there's a third one, freeze. That's not talked about so much. I talk about it in 21 Gifts a lot. And you don't want that turtle energy where it freezes. It literally just stops. So I said, you're going in resonance with these turtles and it's slowing you down. He goes, oh my God. So he's rustling around the background. And I said, what are you doing? While we're talking and having our conference call with his art consultation. And he was throwing them all away in a garbage bag. He's going to get rid of his turtle energy. His life changed. So I talked to him about power animals. Now, here's the question. It's not that turtles are bad. When can we use the turtle energy as some sort of, I call it a power shamanic animal in the book. We talk about shamanic animals are power animals. When do we want to bring tiger energy? When do we want to bring the eagle energy? There are times we want to bring it. So when is it useful to bring in turtle energy? I'll tell you when. If things are moving way too fast in your life. Don't get a tattoo of a turtle, because I have clients that have gotten tattoos of turtles, and it ain't pretty, and their stories are in my book. Instead, you would just want to hang up maybe a picture in your office, wherever you have a lot of commotion. Like, I think things need to slow down. Put a turtle in there. They haven't changed much in 200 million years. I think because they're slow. And that's the truth. So use power animals either on your art, on your wall, or on your bodies carefully. Don't put permanent things on you that you don't want to resonate with permanently. I see this all the time with people tattooing animals on them, and they end up having the characteristics of the animals, every single one of them, and it's unwanted. So when you need that, you bring out the turtle power animal when you need it. This is really important. Art is spiritual alchemy. You are Merlin now. I empower you. I empower you. You are now Merlin, and you are the creator. You're the creator of your life. And use art because it's very, very easy. I'm going to be offering art consultations and tattoo consultations. I've got one already started on Thursday, and I'm going to be changing all of her tattoos. And I talk about them in my book, and her story is amazing. But there's some negative things in there. Almost done. Now, this is fascinating because I talk about abstract art. Pollock, Picasso. I talked a little bit about that before. The study shows, well, before I get into that, I want to talk about the masculine region in the body. This upper part of the chakras, the throat, the ajna, and the crown, are all about masculine energy. Thank you, Gemma. You're authentic and motivational too. And hi, Paula, and hi, Cheryl. The feminine energy, which is the lower part of the body, the lower chakras, the root where the perineum is, and the sacrum, this is feminine energy. This is why study after study after study shows that women are better managers than men in Fortune 100 companies, and Fortune 1000 companies, and S&P 500. Kevin O'Leary said this, that, on Shark Tank, he says, I have about a 50-50 ratio of men leading business and women leading business. He's by far, I make twice as much money with my female-led businesses. Michael Moore's movie, Where to Invade Next, I highly recommend everybody to watch that. It's so fascinating. You're going to learn so much. He goes to Europe and Tunisia and all that. And he interviews women and looks at who survived the fallout 10 years ago, 12 years ago with the 2007, 2008 crisis, 2009. It lasted a number of years. And then we started slowly pulling out of that. But female-led businesses, the one female-led bank that survived, because most of them collapsed in Iceland, was female organized and female run. There's a reason for it. Because the feminine energy is where the root chakra is. So I'm going to show you something in the next slide that's fascinating. Now, going back to the slide, when you look at feminine art, it's all about concrete, clear images, a couple dancing or kissing, versus abstract art is very amorphous. And that's nice too if you need to pull from the creative, the collective unconscious and all that. That resonates with the crown. Father heaven above, Mother earth below. the mother earth below. But if you want to manifest something, this is why women do better in business and companies do better in business, and they produce 20% more patents on average than male-led businesses. We have a long way to go to bring females into power. And that's one of the things that I'm doing as my charter, is to empower women everywhere until my last breath in this incarnation. What does a horse profile tattoo mean? This is a question coming live, and a dolphin one. Well, horses are very strong, and they're actually really intuitive. So does our dolphins. Now, horse energy is more, I think they're docile. I mean, they're really smart. And I met the woman who had the horse show down in Disney. Very fascinating. She actually did leadership training with horses because they were very intuitive. And she let the horses chose the people. They were pairing each other. Not we. We always think we're in control. So she was teaching management, senior management at companies. How do you get a horse to move when you walk around a field without looking at it or touching it or talking to it? That was it. And they were two poles, so they had to go in a big circle. We talked about that for a while. It was so fascinating. Like, how do you work with someone to get them what you want them to do? Like, get a horse to walk around in a circle around these two posts without talking to them, looking at them, touching them. No communication like that. It's all with thought. Fascinating. Dolphins, if you put a dolphin tattoo, it's a water animal. You're going to bring more water energy in your life. You could attract water signs. Cancer, I'm a Scorpio. I'm a quadruple Scorpio. I have a very intense energy. Also helps me to be clairvoyant and psychic and intuitive and all that. But you can attract one. You're going to be blown away by the stories when people start put tattoos of an Aries on there. One guy, the next two boyfriends he had were both Aries. In fact, his only boyfriends were only Aries. This happened in so many stories that when they put water energy or earth energy or fire energy, they attracted a fire sign. When they put air energy like a Gemini or the Gemini sign, then they attracted Geminis in their lives. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. This guy works with autistic people. Absolutely. Horses are great. So the interesting thing about this is, so this nature scene, which is feminine energy, where things are generated because there's sacred geometry in every living thing. The nature scenes in a study that they did, I've got a number of studies about nature scenes, they reduced pain and they lowered blood pressure, the diastolic. But they found out that abstract art causes stress, offering no therapeutic value. Now, why is that? I'm going to share with you why. Abstract art is up here in the masculine region. And when you're around abstract art, it starts resonating with up here, and it resonates with motion, like the amorphous moving clouds of the sky. Think of it that way, the heavens. It's about movement, where feminine energy is about grounded and stability. That's why feminine energy is about prosperity, which is why women who have a lot of feminine energy, and not just they have it, because men have it too, but they foster it. I think women should be running most things in this world. I really do. They know more about education. They know more about money management by far. That's proven in study after study after study. Healthcare. I think they should be running most things. The mask energy, which is the outside shell, we're going to talk about that more with shapes. Very fascinating stuff. That is masculine energy, and males are here to protect and support the females. Yeah. And then to move the energy that's generated by the feminine force and the feminine power of creation out of the egg. You look at all the most powerful shapes, and we're going to talk about more of this in our next session when we talk about shapes. 2 more sessions, rather. Fascinating how shapes will completely transform your energy. They'll completely transform your mood. They'll completely transform your prosperity. Absolutely amazing. So keep the abstract away permanently, unless you do like one piece. I have an abstract piece in it's one of my favorites. It resonates with the crown chakra, like pulling all things possible. But it's got beautiful golds in it, which is great for prosperity. It produces ideas. But if you want to conceptualize them, you hand it off to the feminine energy in you, or females. Like, go foster this, nurture this, give it power. Good. Now, I think we're done. The next session is going to be session number 3, how colors profoundly affect your health, finances, and relationship. I'm going to show you the colors that are for prosperity. We've touched on some of them already. Like black is the absolute worst color to do, hands down.